Welcome to Wax On, Wax Off, the podcast where a teenager gains wisdom and insight from pioneers and innovators that have come before in search of how to win in every facet of life and change the world. I'm your host, Solomon Cole, and let's get into today's episode.
What an intro!
I know. So
what a catchy line.
They don't know who you are yet. So for today's episode, we have my best friend, absolutely phenomenal person, Brandon Mazur.
Brandon Mazur, here we are, everybody. Solomon, how fun to hang out and be on this with you today.
I know.
I love that you're doing this. I think it's
you.
really awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's really cool, so keep doing it. And can we just address the elephant in the room real quick that Solomon and I are wearing matching pants.
We
you
are.
You can't see that.
You want to see?
But
Wait,
we
put a knee up?
we did show up today. And he decided to twin me. So
That is not how it went.
that's just the reality of where we're at. But
Ashes in my tea.
yeah, he also got me tea, so this is wonderful.
I got him tea. I'm a good host. Ew.
He is.
It's like in my mouth. Anyway, so we can just start it off. What do you do,
Yeah.
and why do you do it?
What do I do? Why do I do it? I am a pastor. I have been for a number of years now. I'm 24, and I've served in multiple capacities within pastoring. Youth, college, worship, some next-gen stuff, communicating, preaching, different things like that. And I really do it all because I know the God that I've experienced and that I know, and I know who Jesus is, and I'm just passionate about making sure everybody has the opportunity to know that same God, that same Jesus, and have a relationship with Him. So I just love reaching people.
Why did you get into ministry, or how did you get into ministry?
How did I get? Well, I don't even know if you know this story.
I don't think I do.
You know a lot. We know
do.
a lot about each other.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 years of being very good friends. And the best of friends.
The bestest.
The bestest of the friendest. And when I was 3, and I probably finally just learned to talk when I was 3, people would ask me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And everybody at that age is saying, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president. I don't know if anyone says the president, but everyone has these big, and I would just say, I want to be a pastor. I want to be a pastor. And I always knew that from a young age, and kind of walked away from that calling a little bit in my teen years. And then whenever I was 16, 17, rededicated my life to pursuing that, and got a couple opportunities. Super grateful for those people who took a shot on me, gave me a chance, took some risks with a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, and never looked back after that. Fell in love with ministry, fell in love with preaching and communicating and leading people to Jesus, and there's nothing like it, man.
Have you always been passionate about ministry, and like the passion, you don't really feel like tired or burnt out? Or do you get burnt out?
I don't know if I would use the phrase burnt out, because that just has so many people define that so differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think passion in the sense of, are you always emotionally feeling like, yes, this is it, this is the way, and you never question, should you do something else? No. Because I think pastors, like anyone, I mean, maybe there are pastors out there who are not like that, but like anyone, we're human. And so with ministry, there come very unique challenges. And so the thoughts can creep in. And there are some days where you're like, nothing in me feels like doing this, but have I ever seriously, could I see myself doing something other than? At this phase in my life, I really couldn't, because I come back to the calling that I know that God has for me. That I feel He made abundantly clear. So even when I don't feel it, I can fall back on that. And that's, I forget who says it, but you never rise to the level of your emotions. You'll fall to the level of your belief, And so it's like, all right, whether you're feeling on a high or feeling on a low, you're not going to rise or fall to that. You'll fall to the level of your belief. In other words, like, okay, what do I believe God made me for, created me for? Sorry, I'll give shorter answers.
No, it's good. This is good.
Yeah, so that's my thought. Burnout, yes, you can get fatigued. I get tired. I get exhausted. I've learned I need to put barriers in place to rest and really steward the Sabbath more, not in a legalistic way, but steward rest better.
Yeah, like
Take
have
it easy.
the proper balance of rest and work.
Have fun. Do a podcast with Solomon.
Do a podcast with
You know?
me.
Come
Exactly.
on. If you need some rest, come on over and he'll make you some of this tea.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. And he'll burn a stick. I don't know what that thing is.
It's called Palo Santo, and it's like you burn it.
Yeah.
It smells good.
So if you need rest, come on over.
Come on over. Why God? Because you're a pastor, right? You believe in God. Why is this important for?
Wouldn't that be a
people's
plot
lives?
twist if I said no?
you're like no. What? God sucks.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding. Sorry, Jesus.
Why God?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that question?
Why should people look into it? Why should people believe?
I think everybody within them, and Romans talks about this. We've actually been going through Romans. It's been a couple.
Romans.
Come on. And we've been going through it, but Romans talks about this, that inherent within everybody is an awareness that there is a God. There is something more. It's a matter of whether or not we suppress that truth, that reality that we all know to be true. I think broadly speaking, you can say, why God? AKA, why this cosmic deity? Why this cosmic being? But more specifically, once you determine, okay, there is a God, why Jesus? Why Jesus over other things? And the Bible makes it really clear that Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. It is not one of many options. It is the option. And even if you look at it just logically speaking, cut me off whenever you want. When you look at it logically speaking, it's very much like, okay, Christianity is an exclusive belief system. It's very exclusive. It's inclusive to all people, but it is exclusive to the degree that it cannot be true along with these other faith systems that contradict it. And so first off, you need to decide, okay, do I believe there is a God? And then come to the belief of, okay, well, out of these religious options, what makes sense? And I'm a firm believer, logically and experientially, the only true way is through Jesus himself. And so, again, that's what I've come to find in my life and in the lives of other people. And I just want people to know about that, experience that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long answer.
No,
long-winded.
that's the whole point of a
Welcome
podcast is to talk.
Welcome to our car rides.
Yeah, this is what happens in our car rides. That and we listen to like random music, like
very random,
really random,
like all
music.
over the place.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, the next generation is the future.
Yep.
What do you see that are a lot of strength? Like, what are the biggest strengths of the next generation? Would you say? Because you've been a youth pastor, you've been a college pastor, you are a part of, well, you're kind of the generation right now, but you've seen
24. Am I old?
No,
okay.
I've had older
okay.
people on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I the youngest one on here?
No.
Oh,
Gabe.
Okay. Oh, Gabe. Love Gabe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Strengths of the next generation. Yes. Sorry, I probably shouldn't clap near the mic. Sorry to all your ears out there.
Hurting people.
But innovation, I think for one, this is really the first generation with this full technology era that we've lived in.
True.
And the adaptability, and I think we'll only see that more as time progresses, but the adaptability and the ability to innovate, I think has been something huge with this generation. I also think there is a authenticity and a craving for authenticity in this generation that's very unique.
Can you expound upon that?
Yeah, I mean, specifically, do you want me to talk about it in a faith context?
You can talk about it in both.
Any?
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like in a broad.
Yeah, so like, generally speaking, this, I think young people, oh, it froze. Okay. I think young people can just smell bullcrap a mile away.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to know if you're fake. They're going to know if you're a hypocrite. They're going to know if you say one thing and live another. And I think there's this discernment, generally speaking, that they're just able to tell that. And then I also think everybody's this generation is, doing their TikTok dances and Minecraft and all this. And it's like this shame thing. And I'm just like, every generation has their things that they do.
Yeah.
This one just has their unique ones. So I also don't even see the weaknesses the same way that other people do, because I'm like, all right, literally every generation has done that. Ours just looks different.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, and that's been a thing that's been going on. It's a cycle. It's the older generation judges the younger generation for not doing the things that they did.
And not everybody in the older generation.
That's true.
Oh, and some people in the younger generation are total knuckleheads.
Oh.
And deserve every ounce of the, coming at them. Like 100%. But also not everyone in the older generation is like that. Like there are so many incredible, otherwise I wouldn't be where I am without older people in my life who saw beyond the crazy and poured into my life regardless. So, but I agree. There is a general cycle, not just this generation and this young generation and all this, but just a general cycle where people kind of look down generally.
I heard this thing because I work in like marketing and social media. TikTok, the U.S. government is planning to remove TikTok from the United States in like the next year. But they're trying to do it in a way where China won't like be mad. But China's already mad. They're like sending balloons and stuff. Isn't that weird? And they just like let it go. They're like, what is that? That's a balloon. And it's like, I don't know. That freaks me out a little bit. Like that.
I just think
and they
it was
waited
a balloon.
To shoot it down.
Clearly, we were supposed to have a party. I just think everybody
China was actually,
everything.
we thought it was war, but it's actually China's like,
It
guys,
was
we
like-
want to have a party.
Yeah.
They're like,
let's
happy
celebrate,
birthday, Biden.
I feel like I don't know nearly enough about that to weigh in.
I don't know nearly enough.
I just know there was a balloon and we shot it down.
Yeah, they waited to shoot it down.
Oh.
They like waited a little bit.
Yeah, well.
It's okay though. Balloons mean party. Yeah.
That's why I'm not in politics.
Yeah, exactly. So you were talking about like the older people helping the younger generation, then the older people tearing down the younger generation. And for me, you are older and you have been my mentor. And I was thinking about it the other day. I would not be where I am today without you.
It's too kind.
So like, what would you say are the importance of having a mentor? What to look for in a mentor? Why should you have a mentor?
Yeah. I think you always need, this is, of course, a faith principle, but also just generally speaking, like anybody I think can apply this, whether you are atheist, agnostic, whatever. You should always have somebody who's pouring into you and always have somebody who you're pouring into. Otherwise, I think you're missing some things in your life and you're actually going to feel quite empty inside. Why? Otherwise, your life is just all about you. So why is a mentor important? I'll speak from my experience, because if I didn't have some, I would have made some really, really dumb decisions that I would have regretted. And you need those people in your life. We've never had a convo like this, who will just tell you, you're being an idiot, Yeah,
you never said that to me. Ever.
Never.
Not once.
And knock it off. And this is not the best thing for you. But a couple things. You've got to know each other's hearts. And you've got to give each other that access to speak into each other's lives. So like, I remember Solomon told me before, basically, tell me whatever, whenever. I mean, in other words, but basically
pretty
saying,
much,
hey, you can literally
say whatever you want to say, whenever you want to say it.
Yep. And even sometimes there have been times where you haven't necessarily liked what I've had to say.
Or did I listen to it? Yeah.
Or did you listen to it? But, okay, can I speak to the mentors here, if you will, which should be everybody.
Yeah.
Like, now you should, and you are, like, mentor somebody else. Bring somebody else up. Give your honest thoughts in a loving way, but love unconditionally and still stay present. So it's like, even if the person who you're like pouring into is like, I hear you, but I'm not going to do any of what you just said, you better not throw in the towel. You better not be like, okay, well then you're not, I hate that. Okay, well, you're not doing what I want you to do, so I don't have time for you, or I don't, whatever. It's like, if you really love someone, really believe in them, regardless of what they do, you're still going to be there for them. You're still going to love them. Otherwise, it can float real easily into the manipulation category and, okay, well, I have to do this for this person to approve and to like me and to stay in my life. And it can just get really messy. So why is it important? Because you need people to call you out on things. And you need people to call you higher in areas too. To say, I see something else in you. Don't settle for less, And I see this gift in you. I see this talent in you. I see this ability in you. Step out boldly. That's why I love that you're doing this. Mm-hmm. Like, how many convos have we had about this? And I'm just excited about it because, yeah, are there a bunch of podcasts out there? Yeah. Could you have every thought that you've probably had that's like, oh, I'm 17, I'm young, who's going to listen to this? Mm-hmm. All the doubtful thoughts. Yeah. But send it anyway. Mm-hmm. Do it anyway. Like, cheer on the people who you're leading, who you are, like, support their dreams, support. And if you fail, you're not really failing, you're just learning. Yeah. And you move on to the next thing.
To quote Michael Scott, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
--
Wayne Gretzky.
Yes. Yeah. And to quote Emily Dickinson, this is on my tea Saul gave me. How strange that nature does not knock and yet does not intrude.
Just
we're gonna
end the podcast now. Bye guys. Thank you for listening. Imagine if that's all we had to do.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
You said, what do you look for in a good mentor? Yeah, how long do we do this?
As long as I've gone 2 hours.
Oh boy, hunker down, people.
We can do whatever you want.
What do you look for in a good mentor? This I can really only speak to in terms of faith. So generally, like, in a general sense, I don't know, maybe I'll try to come up with something, but here's what I look for. Does a person love God? Like, really love God? Mm-hmm. Okay? So if someone's going to speak into my life, you need to really love God. Second, you need to really love me, and you need to not have selfish motives.
I love you.
You got to really, thank you. You got to really love me. You got to love God. Got to love me. And you got to just want me to love God more. And you're going to do everything you can to help lead me to that. So those are some things I'd look for in people. Does this person love God? Do they love me? And are they going to help me to love God more and love the world more? And if you can say yes to all of that, then I think they're a candidate for that. And then, I've told you this a million times, they're part of that inner circle, right? Who can speak into whatever aspect of your life. But then you really can't let many other voices impact you, or care too much about what people think. Otherwise, you will just be a people pleaser.
Totally. Yeah. And even if you don't believe what we believe, there's still truth to what we're saying. You don't have to believe in God to succeed, because the whole point of this is to succeed and be happy as a person. Yeah. The whole point of being in a relationship with God is not because you have to or because you're going to go to hell. It's because it makes you a happier person. And when you serve something or someone that is outside of yourself, you are happier. And that's proven statistically by psychologists and neurologists and otherologists. Yeah.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, I don't know why I said and then the last why do you think my generation is so, like, there's this epidemic of depression and anxiety and yeah.
Well, I was a youth pastor over COVID. When I say COVID, you'll probably get flagged. Anyway,
we have to, like, I think the policy is you have to, like, talk about, like, COVID safety or like have it in the bio or something.
Okay.
It's fine. We didn't say COVID.
CDC.
Aunt Rona.
Aunt Rona. So through that, and man, mental health issues and struggles just skyrocketed. And I think a few things. And I am going to sound like, oh my gosh, yeah, we've heard that a million times. But I do think technology and social media in particular have played a massive role in that. Technology and social media, they're tools, right? They are neither good nor bad. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my gosh, you should just delete every platform you have. No, I think you should be on it. I think you should.
I think you should delete it. If you're on social media, delete it right
now.
I
think if it's
unless you saw us on Instagram or TikTok, then you can keep it.
I think if it's unhealthy for you, then yeah, delete it. Like, I've told people before, especially because, like, now with technology and with social media, you can, like, just scroll across pornography on there too. Like there's so many reasons where if that is a struggle and it's causing you negative impact, yes, delete it, get it out of your life. Why resist something if you can just avoid it, right? So get rid of it, delete it. But generally, if you can use it for good, right, and it can not control you and it can actually add value to you in what you're trying to do, then I think it can be healthy. But you need to learn how to control that, because if you're not careful, you'll always compare yourself to people, and you'll always see what other people are doing and their best, and you'll compare it to your worst. And then guess what happens? You develop these mental pathways that develop, and they lead you to be depressed. They lead you to be anxious. And then we scroll more to deal with the anxiety and to deal with the loneliness, because it's a coping mechanism then. But ultimately, it's just feeding those things more. And it's this unhealthy cycle that never stops. And so I think that's a part of it. I also think as a result of that, we have failed to develop, like our younger generation, those really meaningful relationships.
Yes.
You know? And like, if you're going through something in life, you need those people to, which you will. You need those people, regardless of faith, regardless of anything. You need people to walk through with you.
Yep, you need
100%.
friends and mentors, and I think it's forgotten. It's a lot of things, and that technology has made us forget, is having a mentor, writing stuff down, reading a book.
Reading a book, come on.
A book is a mentor as well, and that's something that I've learned is like, as much as people mentors are important, they're not going to be there all the time. And when I'm not with them, I can read a book and I can learn so many things from.
So many things.
I think talking in person to people is slowly being forgotten.
But if we're just simply living on the internet, we're not really cultivating any of that, you know? And we train our brains to have this 6-second attention span that whenever we're not being constantly stimulated mentally in our minds, we feel anxious because it feels like something's out of order, whenever actually having to have that all the time, those endorphins, all those things, that's what's actually unhealthy.
Yes.
And unnatural. So what you're saying is really healthy, but that's what I'm saying. You can learn how to have social media in a healthy way.
It's a tool.
In its proper channel.
Yes.
But it should not control you. You should control it.
Yeah. Do you think if you were able to like press a button and social media just disappeared, like would you do it? Really?
I think aspects of social media, like they're really unhealthy. But I think social media in general, like I said, it can be used for a lot of good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, depending on the day, I might press that button.
Yeah, you would just be like,
you know how I feel about TikTok. So
yeah, TikTok
is, oh boy.
I was reading the terms and service. They're allowed to, if you have TikTok on your phone and you agree to the terms, they're allowed to track you outside of your app. They're allowed to all your swipes and taps.
Doesn't everything?
That's true. They probably just don't even like ask. They're just like, yeah, we've done it.
Yeah, 100%. Which it's all wonky.
Except
I'm
Elon.
more talking about social media.
Elon's fine.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people become like addicted to pornography through social media. You know, and it's almost porn. Like
yeah,
and it's like this gateway almost though, like gateway drugs, right? Well, it's like gateway porn. Like you scroll upon something on social media, and before you know it, that's not enough. So you go somewhere else, and it breeds this addiction. That's why I don't like social media. Yeah. Another reason.
I've had to, you know how you can like flag things on Instagram and like not flag them, but like don't show me this anymore.
Yeah, or flag.
Yeah, whatever. I learned this from George Jenko. He did that to his Instagram. He was like, I didn't want to see stuff because I didn't want to do stuff. So he did that, and I started doing that. And now like my Instagram is just like memes about randomness. Yeah,
memes are great.
Memes are fine. Okay, guys, unless they're inappropriate. Yeah, and even in that case, they're still funny.
Yeah, you've never.
That's all I
shared any of those. Oh boy. What do you want to talk about?
We could talk about porn and the effect of it on people and how it's like whatever. It's an art form, sure, but it's also like it kills your soul. That's I would say that.
Yeah,
is because you're seeing something that you're supposed to see in only one context. You know, like that really is it. It is.
Yeah,
and like if you were like, you know what? Very few people I think would actually watch other people do it. You know what I mean? Like in person, they're like, "Can I just sit by?" Like, But the fact that they're just like, I can go on my computer and do that. I can go on my phone and do that. It's like, no, like.
Yeah, it's become so
unnatural.
unhealthy. And then we expect to have these committed, healthy relationships.
Yes.
It's a generation. Whenever, every day or twice a week or multiple times a day, whatever. Which statistics show that like most people under the age of 25, like 80% of guys watch porn on a regular basis and like 60% of girls. So this is like an epidemic. But we make this habitual thing where, I'm on a screen in these very, very, very the most intimate of experiences with these random people. But I really want that white picket fence, positive relationship with just one person for the rest of my life. And it's like what you're feeding your soul today is going to produce fruit for tomorrow, you know? And so if I'm feeding my soul these constant sexual images, I'm just setting myself up to have cravings that will not be healthy in the long run. And the fruit will not be good. And I've literally like watched this ruin relationships, not ruin, but well, sometimes, but other times cause a massive burden or cause a lot of guys to just never be able to settle.
And it makes the work that you're going to have to do in your marriage, in dating, a lot, and in your personal life, a lot harder.
And this is why no measure to me is too drastic. It's like, if you can't have internet on your phone, don't do it. If you need somebody else to have like covenant eyes with you, do it. You know, whatever the cost, it's worth it because you're setting yourself up in the long run and you'll be better for it. You know, obviously there are always ways around it, but you should do whatever you can.
Because for most people, it's a habit. It's a habit. You build a habit. And it does give you positive chemicals in your body, and then you want those chemicals again. And then once it becomes a habit, you become an addict to the certain kind of chemicals and the certain experience. And then you have to break that habit. I think they say like 90 days and the habit's broken. I
think they say like 30 days and the habit is broken, 90 days and you have a new lifestyle. Or something. So it's like the habit may be broken, but really for a new lifestyle, it'll be 90 days. Also, wait, can I say one thing? Many things.
You'd say many things.
I'm thriving. I love this.
I know, it's so fun.
I hope you'll have me back on. Drop in the comments if you should. Okay.
Put in the comments down below. Smash that like button.
Come on, be sure to subscribe with the bell on. But here's the other thing. Like when I'm talking about this, I don't want to be like, oh my, if for all the faith people watching, toxic purity culture. That's not what I'm trying to go for. You will know what that means if you've been raised in the faith community, where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, can't do this, can't do this.
Really, we're saying, you do that? You're so bad for that. No.
Right, really, we're saying don't settle. You know, God has more for you. And even if you don't believe in God, there is more for you than just settling and compromising for that. And before it's ever a behavior, before it's, oh, I go and have sex with this person, or I watch pornography, or I do those things, purity is a mindset. And Job, whether you faith or not, I feel like you need to keep saying that. He says this, I think it's Job 31, but you can roast me if I'm wrong. I've made a covenant not to undress a woman with my eyes. And like, he doesn't have like Google to look at porn back then, but he's like, I've even made a covenant with my eyes and with my thoughts of I'm going to control. And I'm going to not just view people as objects and to be tools for my liking and pleasing, but I'm going to view them as they really are created, with value, with dignity. And sex is a grewe thing. Sex is a thing that God made. We're not anti-sex. Otherwise,
get married.
Otherwise, if we were anti-sex, where would the Christians be? Right?
That's so true.
So it's like, we're not.
That's why Christians get married so young, guys.
And so quick.
Yeah, they're like, we've been dating for, 2 days now? Okay.
We're like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They're like, it's our first date, but you
like,
get married.
Want to get married?
Yeah. So it's not, like, sex is not bad, but it can be unhealthy outside of the right parameters.
Totally. Yeah. I agree. It's like a lot of other things. I think the key to success in your personal life, in business, and everything is balance. It's how much time are you going to spend on social media? You don't have to spend 0 minutes, but you definitely shouldn't be spending hours.
Yep.
I mean, maybe that's your job, but even then, like, you can, I don't know.
Put time
sex
limits.
Balance. It has to be balanced. It's I heard this analogy. It's like fire. A lot of things are like fire. It can cook your food or it can burn your house down, you know?
Enough said.
Knowledge.
That's good. That's why he's the host.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, totally.
And this is not a shameful thing, shameful message. It's like the best thing you can do is like talk to somebody if you're struggling and you want to overcome and you don't want that in your life. There's no shame. Like, you're gonna be exposed to stuff in life.
That's the whole point of being a human. That's like you're exposed to things that are not good, and then you have to overcome that.
Yeah,
and you make mistakes, and you have to overcome them, and you have to learn how to get past that and level up. That's the whole point of being human. Is leveling up.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on pornography.
Good old porn. What do you think are my generation's biggest weaknesses?
I hate the word weaknesses. Let's say
everyone has weaknesses, though.
Yeah, let's say growth opportunities, shall we?
Oh my gosh, so, you're such a pastor.
What are the best growth opportunities for your generation? Also, like, I don't like to speak to the older generation or the younger generation as if it's every person. So again, disclaimer: this isn't everybody that I'd be talking to. Like,
it's most
generally speaking. I think because of the era that we live in, if something doesn't instantly gratify us, we'll check out. And we lose out on a lot of the valuable things that if we would just dive a little deeper and really develop disciplines. Like, we don't like anything that's not fun to a very unhealthy level. Like, fun is great, but not everything good will be fun. And so you have to learn to not always need instant gratification, instead to develop good disciplines, to stay committed to things through the good times and the bad.
Yeah, totally. And like, even I think that's where like this cancel culture comes in, is because it's like, oh, you don't agree with what I agree? Well, that doesn't make me feel good. I don't get the instant gratification of like, oh yay, they agree with me. I don't want to see that. So then you and all your buddies who all agree the same thing are just like, and you're gone. And I think that's what happens. And I think that I guess the difference in opinions and people having different opinions, that's slowly dissipating, and now it's currently polarizing into just like, I would say 2 camps, maybe 3, of just like, we all believe the same thing, and we both hate each other. And it's like that's that division in our world. It's mostly the adults that are fighting, but I see it in kids too.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think it's a lot of kids.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, adults, sure, too. I mean, I'm an adult, but
adult.
Asterisk.
I
don't know what the proper pronunciation is. I'm not an adult, but
I think you take English in like 3rd grade.
Huh?
I think you take English in like 3rd grade and learn all punctuation and stuff.
Yeah, this is a long time ago though, 3rd grade. Yeah, this mentality that, you know, we all need to hate the others and, oh, this is my camp, and if you're not in my camp, I hate you. It's just like, no, that's stupid. You know, like, we can disagree and still be friends.
Yeah.
There are things we wouldn't agree on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
But, well, there are.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't be friends, you know? And that doesn't mean we can't love each other and do life with each other. You can disagree and still respect.
Yeah, and I think there are certain levels of disagreement. I think there is like, you can disagree on like the fundamental things. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Like if you're like what you morally believe, that's kind of an issue.
But we'll make everything into a moral belief. That's the problem.
Ooh, that's true.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but if I'm like, because this is something that we debate over. It's like, mushrooms aren't bad, and then you're like, mushrooms are bad, and then we debate over that. But then you're more not like it's bad. You're just like, I don't want to do it myself. And I'm like, I don't really care, you know?
we can't always hate somebody for seeing a different perspective.
Exactly. I heard Bill Maher say this, and it was so funny. He was doing an interview on CNN, and he was
Is
like,
he still around?
Bill Maher?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I know he's around, but is he still doing his show?
Yeah, he is.
Real time?
Real time.
Okay.
Still going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still
I saw a
happening.
billboard of him in LA.
Huh.
No, he was on CNN, and he was like the left wants to he said the left wants to accept everyone except the differences in opinions. They'll accept the difference in your skin color, the difference in your gender, the difference in your sexuality, but not a difference in your opinions. And then he made a joke talking about the right will accept the difference in your opinions but hate everything else. And I was laughing really hard because I was like, that's not true, but it's kind of like, yeah. And I think that like we just need to just love people. It's that simple. No matter what you do, no matter what you have done, I love you. And that's like a principle for me. And I think that that's like a key to our life as humans. And that would solve a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, even speaking like from the faith perspective that you love.
Mm-hmm. I do.
The church so oftentimes, and this is honestly good for people who don't believe in God because maybe you've had a bad church experience, but like the church in general has fallen, I feel like, on two extremes. One, we either are going to be so gracious and loving and hospitable to people that we never actually show them the truth of God's word that is meant to be good for them, that is actually loving, or we become so heavy-handed with the truth of God's word that we never show them the loving heart behind it. And as someone said, like, truth without grace is brutality, but grace without truth is like an illusion, and so you need both. And I think you just need that across every aspect of life, like within church especially. Like there is truth. Like I said, the truth is Jesus. It is found in his name. Freedom is found in his name. Like hope and purpose and a reason for life beyond just living and making it and getting by. Like something deeper, eternal value. Like all of that is found in Christ. That is the truth. And yes, there are morals, and thank God there are those things, but we have to present it in a loving way. I think that's everything in our culture right now. It's like, yeah, you can communicate the truth, but do it in a way that's loving, especially Christians. The heart of God is never a heart of hate. It's never a heart of this absurd aggression towards people. It's like, no, God loves people. Now communicate like he does, communicate the truth.
Yeah, totally. And it's a balance even within the balance, because if you're you have the grace and the truth, it's knowing when to speak the truth and knowing when to have grace.
And how to.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Totally. Because I think that people are like, no, I have grace and truth, but then they do it the wrong way. You have to go about the right thing the right way. And that's why it's really hard to be a Christian and to help people, is not even just as a Christian, but just to help people in general. It's like, it's really, really difficult.
Well, and it just takes a lot of social intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I've told you this before. If Solomon's out there doing something wild and crazy, I'm going to have no issue calling you and be like, dude, what the heck? XYZ. And just tell you how it is. But I'm not going to do that with everybody. Like that bluntly and that overtly, because it's just social intelligence. We have relationships.
Yes.
We have rapport. We trust each other. You know what I mean? Like that's been proven. So it's like, just be wise, be smart,
and be someone's friend.
Yeah.
If you are someone's friend, like you told me this one time, and so I was like, I have this guy that I know, and he's like doing stuff, and I'm like, I want to help him, but I don't want to be like go out guns blazing. You're like, just be his friend, and I was like, oh, okay. And I have, and now he's happier, his life is better, and I think that's huge and important. It's just like, be people's friends, pour into them, and then once you create that bond, that's when you can be like, kind of call them out. You know?
It's a cliche thing. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. It's a cliche. Wisdom. That's not me. That's somebody.
Amazing.
Quote somebody.
Michael
Michael Scott. Wayne Gretzky.
What do you think my generation needs to do to succeed and go in the right direction? Or what do you think needs to change?
I think this generation, as with every generation, and you're going to probably not like my answer, but more than anything, what do they need? They need Jesus. What do you need? You don't need to be so concerned about what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Just who do I need to pursue? And his name is Jesus. And if you get Jesus right, then he will open up the doors. He'll lead you. And no matter what you do, you'll be fruitful in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he becomes your filter. Like each of us, whenever we make a decision, should I pursue this or should I pursue that? Should I do this? Should I do that? We run it through filters of our mind, which are really good things from our past experiences, from decisions we made in the past, from what we believe. And then we make the best decisions that we can. But Jesus should be your number one filter in your mind. So if it goes through Jesus, then it can go through the other things. But this generation needs Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
They need purpose. How do we get over the mental health crisis? Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the, Jesus can, and God can work through a million different things. But I'm saying inherently, that's what this generation needs. Sorry if that's not
no,
what you really wanted. But I'm convinced of that.
How do you think for the people that are listening to this and for us who believe in Jesus, how do you think we make Jesus, we remove the stigma around it? Because the stigma is you're just going to judge me and you hate gay people and you hate trans people and pretty much anyone who's not a hetero white male. Like that's
that voice.
That's
sorry.
That's just that's the voice that
anybody.
No, that is a hetero white male voice. I don't know why. Anyway, how do we remove the stigma and how do you think we can make Jesus like popular and actually show what it actually is and like show the essence of what it is and kind of, because you do have to fix a lot of, or like show people like that have a lot of wounds, like no, that the thing that wounded you wasn't Jesus, wasn't Christianity.
Yeah, I get that. I think the church, which is really just believers, needs to do a better job of just looking like Jesus, who is not this hate-filled or hateful person. Mm-hmm. Somebody who I think would have a conversation with anyone, would have a conversation with the worst of our society, the person who has killed and murdered, and that Jesus would sit down with that person. And you know what? God loves all people. And this is not because you'll say, oh, well, you're cheapening the gospel. No, the gospel is love. The gospel is love, and it's an acknowledgement that I am sinful, I am broken. And yes, like I have done things that are against the heart and the will and the purposes of God for my life. I've missed the mark. I've sinned, screwed up. I'm not afraid of that word. And I have to repent. I have to turn from my way, and I have to accept Jesus. But if I repent and I turn to God, if I give him my life, if I surrender everything to him and say, I'm done pursuing my own path and I'm going to chase after you, he's not going to respond with, well, you still need to grovel at my feet because of what you have done. No, he's going to look at you and he's going to receive you with open arms and he's going to embrace you and welcome you and love you because you're part of his family now.
Yeah.
So it's not denying the truth. The reality is, we talked about this with Romans. Paul is really, really clear. Everybody's crappy. Everybody sucks.
It's true.
Like we all are dirty, awful, messy people, but the grace of God shows up for all of us. And really, the judgmental aspect of Christianity is really rooted in this arrogant notion that they need the grace of Jesus way, way, way more than I do. And they're so much worse than I am. And I look at my life and I know the thoughts that I have and what sits in my heart. And I'm like, who am I to judge other people? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to show them who God is because he's forgiven me. He's met me. He's walked with me. And I know he'll do the same with them. Mm-hmm. So it's embracing both, again, the grace and the truth. The truth is, why do we need saving? Because we need saving. Because we're garbage. Because we're really, really bad. Why do we need and this proves why we need the grace, why we need to communicate it. But his grace is so good that it's indescribable. And it's there and available for every single person. And I think that, we as believers need to do a better job of living that out. Not just preaching down at people, but calling them up to what Jesus has for them.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. We're gonna do the last segment of the podcast.
Segment.
I do the last segment.
We didn't prep any of this.
Well, I did a little.
Oh yeah, I did.
How do you define success?
doing whatever God calls you to do.
What is your dream life right now? Like your dream for your future, and how are you going to get there?
Oh boy. What? Read it again.
What is your ideal for your future? What is that, and how are you going to get there?
Wherever God leads, we're gonna go. But like practically speaking, I mean, I'm about to get married. Trying to buy a house. Trying to launch some things. And so I don't know. I'm definitely like, I think everybody should dream, you know, and have a lot of like big ideas for what their life could be. And so I never want to stop dreaming and just grinding for what that is.
What is something that you're trying to overcome in your life right now?
You know, I've definitely let some negativity creep in. Negativity with my thoughts, which is not me at all. If you've done Strength Finders, my top is positivity. Like, I love positivity. But I've let some negativity creep in. And so really uprooting that.
I don't know if I asked this already, but how do you define success?
I did. Doing whatever God tells you to do.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you. This was fun. You're phenomenal. And if you haven't, he didn't tell me to say this, but follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're on.
Share it with. This is the most important thing. I don't care if you follow me. If you want to follow me, do it. But share it with the people that you want to like, that you know. Just everyone, even if they're gonna hate it, just share it with them.
Give it a share. This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
So wise for your age, and I'm really proud of you. So I think he's awesome, and you should too.
Yeah. Anything you want to like plug or like share with the peeps? Jesus!
Love you guys.
Alrighty.
You're awesome.
Bye.
We'll catch you later.